When I cleaned back the under seals and stone chip protection in this wheel arch, in preparation for stitch welding the shell, I discovered a few little bits of rust. I decided to continue with the stitch welding and put strength into the shell before I undertook these repairs, which will reduce the strength momentarily when I make cuts in these structurally important parts of the car. I'm also leaving the cage in for the moment, as I will take it out later for painting. The line of factory spot welds seems to be quite far in on that flange that I'm peeling back, which actually suits me at the moment. It gives me this room to expose the rust below. In more recent years, particularly when working on cars that I'm using frequently on the road, I've gotten into doing my rust repairs like in largest areas that you can take out in one go, rather than timidly taking out small sections, which I probably would have done at the start before I was more experienced at it. But actually in this job I am going to do it in smaller sections. Again, it will mean less of the structure taken out of the car while I'm doing it, and I'm happy to put extra time into this to do it as tidily as possible. Also, there are so many panels interfacing, not in this particular one, but in the repair that I'm going to do above it next, that I want to work with as much of the original structure as possible, leaving that in. So small little bits removed and trying to do it section by section, I think will work out best. I'm cleaning back the edges there so I get nice clean welds. It's a relief to not be welding underneath the car now for a while. So I'm sticking on a little bit of cardboard there to make a template that I will weld in. I've actually come across less structurally sound repairs than this on other cars from time to time. A sill made of kitchen towel and under seal is one of them. Okay, just tracing around the edges now with a marker. And then I can cut that out. And then transfer that shape onto a piece of salvaged steel. It's all recycling here. So the marker line was on the inside when I was marking it on the car, and now it's on the outside of the edge of the template. So it should work out fairly close to what I need. Tin snips is a great tool, a lot safer and more accurate if used properly than the angle grinder with a cutting disc. So it slots in there pretty nicely. I was going to use a magnet, but it actually kind of popped in and held itself. So a couple of little tack welds on the bits that are lined up best, and then I'll push and pull it to match the hole that it's going into. You can see it's penetrating quite well, so there's plenty of steel on both sides of the cut. I think with this one now that I've gone a little bit far in, but at the bottom, so it was perfectly in line, so I welded the middle of that, and then I tapped that from behind, so getting a pretty flush repair. It's the same at the top actually as well. That's gone around nicely. Now clean off the welds with the hand wire brush. A couple more at the top. That's been tapped back now from the inside. So that's all cleaned up. To hurry things along, I'm actually cooling that with the airline, and I'll put a bit of weld through zinc primer on that because the flange is going to be bent back now. I've allowed time for it to dry and wouldn't be able to get paint at that later, and I'm not putting sealant on it as I will be welding through it. This will help push out the other side of the repair piece and weld along that now, and it's actually under my tab. I then use the flap wheel on the grinder to flatten down the welds a little bit, just to make it tidy, and particularly the ones in the wheel arch so that they don't catch any dirt even though they'll be sealed over. Didn't go completely to town on this because a couple of seconds on the area off the weld and you're weakening the metal. You're going through it at such a fast rate. I'm now continuing the stitch welds that I would have done across this piece, wire brushing off those welds and putting a bit of zinc primer over all that. The next one above will be a little more complicated.